Hi, this is Gunilla, Live Your Dream Guide, and I would like to talk about oneness. In many spiritual traditions, oneness is the understanding that all beings are expressions of the same universal essence or divine source. This is often called the one consciousness or universal mind. There is also a scientific oneness. In modern physics, concepts like quantum entanglement or the interconnected nature of energy fields support the idea that at a fundamental level, everything in the universe is interrelated. Oneness is present in different spiritual traditions like Hinduism. The term Advaita means non-duality, and it teaches that the individual soul, Atman, and the universal consciousness, Brahman, are ultimately one and the same. Enlightenment is realizing this truth of unity. And while Buddhism does not focus on the idea of a permanent self or soul, it emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings through the concept of interdependence or dependent origination. Everything arises in the dependence on other conditions, suggesting that nothing exists in isolation. Mysticism like Sufism, Kabbalah, Christian mysticism, mystics from different traditions often speak of a direct experience of oneness with God or the divine. This can happen through deep meditation, prayer, or ecstatic states. And many indigenous cultures that teach that all of life, humans, animals, plants, earth, and sky, are interconnected, forming a harmonious whole. In these views, the earth and cosmos are seen as living beings, and humans are just a part of this web of life. To experience oneness often requires a shift in how we perceive ourselves. We tend to identify with our individual ego, our body, mind, personality, and personal history, but oneness suggests that this is just a small, temporary part of our true nature. And here is how this change in identity can unfold. Letting go of ego. Oneness involves loosening the grip of the ego, the sense of being a separate I from everything else. This doesn't mean losing individuality, but rather seeing through the illusion of separation. And universal consciousness. In experiences of oneness, individuals often feel deeply connected with others, nature, and the universe, and they may describe feelings of boundless love, peace, and an absence of fear. An illusion of separation. Oneness reveals that the boundaries we perceive between people, between ourselves and nature, are constructs of the mind. In reality, there is only the flow of life, expressed in different forms. And while oneness can be a spiritual concept, it has practical applications for how we live and interact with others. Compassion and empathy And when we understand that we are all connected, it becomes natural to feel compassion for others, since harming someone else is, in a sense, harming oneself. Acts of kindness and empathy arise from this awareness. Also, recognize the oneness in all life inspires a deep care for the earth. When we see the planet not as a resource to be exploited, but as an interconnected system we are a part of, we become more inclined to protect and nurture it. And in a world driven by the perception of separation, competition often dominates. When we embrace oneness, we shift toward a more collaborative, cooperative approach, recognizing that uplifting others benefits the whole, including ourselves. There are many practices. Meditation and mindfulness can help quiet the mind and dissolve the sense of separation. You can experience a profound sense of unity with everything around you. Focus on developing compassion for all beings. It strengthens the feeling of connection to others and a sense of universal love. And meditations focusing on being rather than doing can allow you to recognize the oneness of consciousness itself. Spending time in nature can often lead to feeling of oneness. The nature reflects the interconnectedness of life, and quiet moments in nature can dissolve the boundaries between self and the environment. And some people explore altered states of consciousness, such as those by psychedelics, as a way of experiencing oneness. Engaging in selfless service can dissolve egoic boundaries and deepen the experience of oneness. Serving others from a place of compassion and unity shifts focus away from the self to the larger whole. While the idea of oneness is uplifting, it also presents some challenges. It's a misunderstanding that oneness is losing the self. Oneness isn't about erasing the individual. It's about recognizing that individual and collective existence are complementary, not separate. And sometimes people use the idea of oneness by bypass uncomfortable emotions or realities, dismissing problems in the world by saying everything is one, without addressing real suffering or injustice. True oneness includes awareness and compassion for all forms of life experiences, including those that are painful. And some concepts of science align with the spiritual idea of oneness. Quantum physics, there are particles that were once connected remain entangled, meaning that the state of one particle can instantly influence the other, no matter the distance. This reflects the interconnectedness of all things at the most fundamental level. And ecology demonstrate that all life forms are interconnected. Every species, from the smallest microbes to the largest mammals, plays a role in maintaining balance. Human actions affect the planet's ecosystems, which in turn affects all living beings, showing the integrated web of life. And modern science also acknowledges that everything in the universe at its core is energy, matter, consciousness and all physical forms are expressions of this energy, which aligns with spiritual teachings of oneness as a fundamental reality. Living oneness in relationships, you have a deep connections. Oneness allows for deeper connections with others when you see others as reflections of yourself. Relationships are enriched by more understanding, compassion, and love. See your relationships as mirrors. Being non-judgmental, because everyone is part of the same whole, it reduces judgment and increases acceptance of others, the paths, the challenges, and viewpoints. And conflict resolution. Oneness promotes peace and non-violence by helping us realize that harming others is ultimately harming ourselves. And oneness isn't just a concept, it's a way of living and perceiving the world. By understanding that everything is interconnected and part of a larger whole, we can shift how we interact with ourselves, others, and the planet. Embracing oneness allows for greater harmony, inner peace, and fulfillment in life. Oneness is about recognizing that we are all part of something bigger. And by aligning our lives with this truth, we can create a more compassionate, loving, and connected world. And to me, this is where we are going. To me, the future is positive. It's a lot of turbulence going on. Maybe it's needed to clean, to let go, to make this big shift and change. But the future is positive and we are going towards oneness.